on this that, at least to my knowledge, I don't think has been expressed anywhere yet. And when I actually had this realization, I feel like it exposed the absolute jackassery that is referred to as gatekeeping, the discussion of which seems to come largely from a select group of wizards online trying to decide whether it's right or wrong. Before I describe my bunker buster to gatekeeping though, I'll say this. I don't usually speak on social or political things connected to music, political in the generic sense, like not governmental or something. And the reason I don't is because I don't think I'm all that qualified to. Like, I'll admit, my data files on those sorts of issues are small, and outside the music itself, or band history, or their art or something, none of the other stuff seems to hold my attention very long. It just doesn't. However, occasionally, when exposed to, or in this case, maybe it's overexposed to, something that seems to escape beyond just the title of a YouTube video and actually makes its way into people's regular chatter, you wonder if it's a topic you should be up on. In case you're unfamiliar with the term, I'm sorry to say I can't really give you a straight definition either, because it seems to be more of just a perception than anything else. But generally speaking, my understanding is that gatekeeping is the perception that some people knowledgeable of a certain band or sound or genre don't want it spread into others unless they meet some sort of criteria. And what that criteria is and how an applicant's judged, I don't know. You'd have to ask the gatekeeper. You see, already there's some holes here. Further, what qualifies the gatekeeper to be the disseminator of that knowledge? Did they pay a fee for the title? Did they win a competition? Maybe the answers to those questions are gate-kept themselves. Ultimately though, at this point you might be wondering about something big, which is, how the fuck is any of this enforced? Is it enforced? This kind of crap led me to the question that, after I was staring off into space for a few seconds, resulted in laughter trying to come up with answers. But just to tie that all together, we're talking about a group of people, supposedly, because so far I haven't seen any of them myself, nor have I seen Bigfoot, that prevents another group from hearing certain music or seeing certain movies, because I got a feeling this concept probably lives in film too, maybe even video games, possibly literature as well, but that prevents another type of person from consuming something. And there are people out there that fucking swear up and down things like gatekeepers are good, or on the flip, gatekeeping is killing heavy metal. But I'd like to ask a burning question, yeah, like my big thing here I thought of. Has anyone in the history of history ever successfully stopped somebody else from listening to certain music? Like, other than maybe their parents when they were kids? Or has anyone ever self-policed themselves to the point where they've chosen not to consume something because of rules set forth by a gatekeeper? I'm afraid I gotta pull a Macaulay here and say, I don't think so. In fact, I'm pretty goddamn certain that this vapor of a concept is just that. Like, enforcement literally doesn't exist. Maybe really the only part of it that does exist is just the word. Because other than Gozer the Gozerian, in my experience, I've never seen, met, talked to, or even thought about such a role. I mean, I'm gonna bet there's probably 1,000% chance of better odds of somebody physically standing in front of a door and blocking you from entry at a show, that kind of gatekeeping, than there are if it's somehow happening inside your Spotify or Apple Music activity, you know? That's something I've never encountered myself, but I will tell you if I did. If there's some badass crazy enough to stand there with his arms crossed, like, nope, not getting in, I'm probably gonna obey, right? Like, I'd probably get my ass kicked if I tried to protest, so, hey man, you standing in front of the door, I'm gone. See, things like this go back to the politics of stuff external from the music and having more to do with people not actually in the bands, because I'd imagine pretty easily that most band members do want their material spread as much as possible. But social stuff, I ain't saying any of that's good or bad. I mean, everybody's young at some point, or new to something, and people experiment and shit and find what they like or don't like. Maybe some of it involves wearing a mask for a while or putting on some sort of facade. Maybe it's just somebody looking for friends. I see no crime in that. Nor do I necessarily find anything wrong with people that do try to keep something quiet, because I mean, they're certainly not under any sort of obligation to a band, you know? Like, as long as they're enjoying the music, what more do they need to do? I can understand how it might be a little against the better wishes of a band that's trying to boost awareness of their name and, like, you know, hoping people spread it, but still, promotion's typically their responsibility and nothing's stopping them from reaching out to more potential fans despite a few not actively participating in word of mouth, you know? Does that that sound valid? Like that the fan's not really on the hook to help spread awareness? I mean, the reason why you'd think they should is because, like, hell, I'll use myself as an example. Whenever I stumble upon somebody I really like that's pretty clearly new, I always try to do what I can to help prop them up. Maybe you do too. And that's because I want new music from them. You know what? I can give you a genuine case of this in action, and it's a little bit messed up because at this point it might be too late, but there is a young band from New Orleans with the very lovely name Fucked in the Head. These guys are like kids, I should say, because they seem pretty young, are friggin' awesome. They're like a slightly more rhythmic, slightly more melodic I Hate God with this kind of noise thing thrown in is the only weird way I can describe them. And the best part about it is, it does not seem like they're trying to emulate any sort of sound that came before them or pay tribute one way or another to any influences. Like, you just watch them and it seems so natural. And this singer, man, this kid has got this kind of scream that looks like it's absolutely effortless. And holy shit, if it doesn't sound deranged, man. Like, unsound, mad, scary, pure psychosis. I'm telling you, man, if you want to hear something that's just as catchy as it is harsh, like many of us like in heavy music, Candle's the only single they got up, unfortunately, but it's out there anywhere. But, and sadly, just the other day, they announced their indefinite hiatus. So maybe, unfortunately, too little, too late, but I reached out to a few people I know with labels and was like, look, there is what appears to be a very sellable act with a lot of potential, and I think you need to check them out. I don't know what's gonna happen to Fucked in the Head, but yeah, I don't know. I hope something can develop from my efforts, because I would love to hear more from these dudes, and I believe many others would enjoy them too. So I guess that sort of thing demonstrates my behavior when I discover something I think the rest of the world would also fall in love with. And I know I didn't have any responsibility, but for the simple fact that I always want to hear more instead of less, well, yeah, I fucking try to help out or something. But yeah, so still, on the subject of gatekeeping, I don't think it actually happens in real life, because one only knows about that type of person because they, the keeper of gates, hinted knowledge of a band to begin with. Like, as if to say, Mr. Gatekeeper dropped the band's name, in effect opening the gate, thereby allowing any blessed human that was witness the ability to go check out the band's music. So nothing's not fair game. And have you ever seen anyone self-identify as such? Like, can you just imagine the level of edgelord a person like that might be if they were like, yes, I am a gatekeeper. No, sir, I believe you're a comedian. That's why I'm saying all this stuff's just a perception, or like nothing more than a topic that gets discussed in some nerd cave on Reddit, probably. But I can understand why some early adopters might fear a band blowing up. It's because we've all seen over the years bands getting some fame and then changing their sound. And most of the time it's shit. So I get that, but I mean, hey, sometimes it's not, right? Cannibal Corpse didn't become Cannibal Grunge after Ace Ventura, like for one example. It's probably more, I just can't think of them right now. So yeah, man, that's my take. I think the mere discussion of something like gatekeeping is silly. Like, it doesn't pose any threat to anything one way or the other, but it's just a bunch of dorks yapping about something to pass the time. I don't know. You got anything? Am I way off on this? Let me know. And with that, I will quit my yapping. So if you did like this video, cool, maybe you can give it a thumbs up. Or if you just like hearing somebody bullshit about heavy metal, then gatekeep your ass right into that subscribe button. And we'll see you next time on Concrete Spew, but until then, stay crazy, my friends.